Okay, so welcome to the Ravens, a One Tree Hill podcast. I'm Simon, and tonight I am honoured to be joined by Amber Brooke, also known as Glenda. Amber, thank you so much for joining me, and how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No, thank you so much. I mean, to take it all the way back, how did you first start getting into acting? I read online that you started at like the age of 6. Is that true? Was it always something that you wanted to do, or how did it manifest?
Yeah, I just was always performing and rambunctious and outgoing as a child, and just always wanted to talk to people. And so my mom got me into modeling first. You know, like that was kind of like, yeah, we'll take pictures. You'll really like that. And through there, I think I also took like an acting class. Like I think through the modeling, they were like, you need to take an acting class so you can know what it's like to be on camera and have a personality. And I fell in love with it. I found a manager through that class, and next thing you knew, that's kind of what I did. Like I started auditioning and I booking things and being on set, and I've never looked back. Just always loved it.
Did it start with like commercials and things and then build up, or to like local TV, or like what was the first, mentionable part, I guess?
The first part that I actually got was a movie of the week, and I was playing Diane Lane and Donald Sutherland's daughter. And it was this like Civil War piece, or just post-Civil War piece. It was called The Oldest Living Confederate Widow. And I worked on that set for, I want to say 2 weeks. So that was actually my first gig. And then after that, kind of a mishmash, sometimes it'd be commercials, sometimes local stuff. Every once in a while you hit that, cool big part on a show,
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And so if we get forward to like One Tree Hill times, before you were cast on the show, was it something that you were familiar with? Like, were you watching the show, or did you like get the part and then have to like catch up?
Honestly, no, I was not watching the show. I had friends that really loved it. But I was always like one of those teenagers who watched like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I was always watching like sci-fi stuff. And so when I got the show, I went to watch, I think I bought the first season, like, okay, let me familiarize myself with this. And I think kind of like anybody who watches the show, the next thing I knew, I had like bought I went and got the next season that had like just come out, season 2 or something like that. And I was watching through that and I was hooked. I was like so hooked. So by the time that I actually went on to set, I was very familiar with the show.
Right. And when you were cast, so you were aware that, because the episode that you begin in is probably the most famous episode of the whole show, right? I mean, were you aware of how poignant that was going to be?
No. I had no idea in a million years. I knew it was a heavy episode. So obviously they're talking about a school shooting, but I didn't even know the ending of that. They had the script, the last couple pages weren't given out to people who weren't filming it. So I had no idea what was going to happen. I was with everybody else watching, just like, sobbing. Oh my God. Yeah, no clue.
Well, and so Glenda, your character, that part of the episode is really interesting because it gives the sort of layered effect of people not paying enough attention, particularly to their surroundings, or potentially not seeing the issues that are around them with, things that can happen in teenage, adolescent years, or things that can happen throughout life at any age. And your character kind of represents that to Brooke, Sophia Bush's character, in that, Glenda is telling her mum that Brooke is, one of her best friends, and Brooke isn't really even aware of her existence. I mean, was, as much as I'm sure you're happy to be working and everything, regardless of, necessarily what the story is. But was that something that you like appreciated as a performer, that it was a bit more of a nuanced story rather than just sort of a throwaway storyline?
Oh, absolutely. The monologue itself was really fun. And like you said, the scene is saying something, it's, conveying something important. And so, yeah, that's always such an honor to be able to bring material to like that to life. And Sophia Bush is, so lovely and so expressive and vulnerable that she was wonderful to work with. It made it so much easier, doing a scene like that. Yeah, I'm very special. It was cool for sure.
Yeah, and we often say it's sad, but we often say that Sophia Bush is masterful at crying. She has a great cry, or is able to emote it really well, and that's she sort of goes outside and does that. So yeah, that's a great partnership. And another great partnership that you have, leading on, is you share a lot of scenes with Lucas, Chad Michael Murray's character, and almost becoming like the editor of his book. What was it like to work with him? Was he fun to work with?
Oh, absolutely. By this point, they had all become a family. They bonded. They've been working together for, this was third season now, so this is 3 years or something. So they all had such a ease on set and an ease with each other and a confidence about what they were doing. And that's always fun to work with. And so, yeah, he's a very talented guy, obviously. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. It was really cool to see all of them together in the school scenes, especially, and watching them all interact together, very odd. They're their characters, and then it's Hillary Burton and Chad Michael Murray, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's fun to watch that.
Seeing behind the curtain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you were offered the role of Glenda, was it something that you knew was going to carry on for a few more episodes, or at that point initially was it just going to be like a one and done, and then actually they liked what you did with it and the storyline, so then they continued it?
Initially, it was just a one and done. And when they called to see if I wanted to come back, I was thrilled, obviously. That's really exciting. I'd like to think it's because, I just really did such a good job that they were like, we got to bring this chick back. But
we can go with that. Let's go with that. I think that's a good narrative.
Go with that, for sure. But I think Glenda, she's a relatable character, and I don't think there was anybody like her at that point, in the show. Somebody who's a little bit more alternative, a little bit more fringe, a little bit more on the outsides of what's going on. And so, yeah, I was really excited when they brought me back, and it was really strange to go into wardrobe and they had all these goth pieces. And I was like, okay, all right, here we go. We're going this way. And I think what's funny about that too, is when I originally booked the part, so I had bright red hair, really bright, unnaturally bright red hair. And when I showed up on set and I went to the director, right before filming, I was in wardrobe and everything. He looks at me and he sees my hair and he's like, no, this is supposed to be brown. We were supposed to dye this. And that was never communicated to anybody. So we had to rush back to makeup, and desperately, I have 4 people trying to strip the color from my hair and dye my hair some kind of neutral color, so it wasn't so bright, because my character's not supposed to stand out. She's somebody who's been blending in. Nobody knows who she is. So that was really stressful. So I think when they brought me back, they were like, we're just going to go with the red hair. What can we do with that? Oh, okay, we're going to be goth now.
That's crazy. I mean, as an actor, did you find would you have had any say in that? As in, if you were super precious about your hair, and this is my hair color, and no, I'm not going to change it. Was it ever did anyone ever say to you, hey, is it okay if, or was it sort of no, this is what we're doing, and you would have had to resist to keep your hair it's that color?
I mean, in my experience, it's always been, consent, obviously, like, is this okay? For sure. Um, but I think like a lot of actors, we understand like we're playing parts. So yeah, I might love my long hair, but if I'm playing a part where it suits my character to have short hair, well, this is the business I got into, So I think most of us are pretty cool about just like, well, it is what it is. It's hair, it'll grow back. I hope,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's never like you're gonna do this, right?
Yeah.
And I do think in certain situations, and I might be completely wrong about this, but I think in certain situations, if you do really love your hair and it's like they're completely chopping it off, changing it a different color, giving you bangs, I don't know. I think you might get compensated for that. So I think there might also be like a financial thing, like, okay, we're going to pay you to do this since we're adding this onto your job.
Right. Yeah. Well, so. That's fair enough. And hair takes a long time to grow. You need to be compensated for that time. Well, how did you feel about Glenda's turn to a more sort of gothic look?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I was never like necessarily goth in high school, but I was definitely one of those alternative kind of girls, like wanted to be a skater punk, wanted to be a rock chick, just like was edgy, right? I'm so edgy. So I loved when they brought out all that wardrobe and the black makeup and putting the black in the hair, and oh, it was so fun. I dug it. I dug it a lot.
Excellent. So Dom is my co-host. He can't join for some of these things because we're doing it episode by episode, week by week, and he's never seen the show, and that's kind of our premise of our podcast. So we're at the beginning of season 4, so he hasn't seen some of these episodes yet. But we were saying what would have been an interesting twist, and I don't know how you would have felt about this, but would have been if obviously school shooting is a horrendous thing and a terrible tragedy, but if we just take it into the complete realms of fiction and fantasy here and try and leave that stuff out of it, just because we're just talking strictly about TV, we thought it would be interesting if Glenda, this storyline, was introduced like maybe 1 episode or 2 episodes before, and as the episode comes to towards the end, and as Jimmy comes out, there actually was a second shooter the entire time. And of course it was Glenda, because she was also forgotten and blended in. Would you have played that? Would you have felt okay about that? Or maybe not?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I totally would have been cool playing that. I don't know how to put it into words, like, especially for stories like these where it's meant to make people feel something and see something and learn something. It's very heavy, whatever part, especially even if it's like a part that's like, oh God, in real life, obviously that's horrifying. I would never go and shoot somebody or go to a school with a gun or whatever. But being able to play that character realistically enough and honor the story and honor what you're saying enough so that audiences can like really buy into it. Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. Sign me up.
Okay. Dom and I keep saying that we're going to create the reboot. So when we become the showrunners, that will be our first point of call. But I mean, it would have been, because it's such a poignant episode and a poignant part of, the feeling of being, he was bullied and, left out and, suppressed and all the rest of it. It would have been an interesting twist to have actually, he wasn't alone. He's not the only one that feels like this. Other people feel like this as well. Obviously, it was done in a much better way via your character in showing that in a different way without it being, violent. So I think they got it right. They got it right. But well, and then as you come back for you come back in the end of season 3 where you're in like the sort of goth, or was it the beginning of season 4? I might be messing that up, but you come back and you're in Trick and you're wearing like the sort of gothic stuff,
the like clean teen episode, right?
That's it. Yeah, because your character tells Brooke about what happened to Shelley, and so that's only happened like a couple episodes from where we're at currently.
Okay.
at that point, was it again that they were bringing you in for a one and done, or did you know that there were going to be more episodes to come in that season?
Yeah, again, as far as I knew at that point, it was like, here I am, one and done. If I'm not mistaken, and it's been a hot minute. I think it wasn't until the next episode that I kind of realized that I was going to be in a couple more, because I think they were filmed close enough together that I was doing wardrobe and stuff. Because I lived in Atlanta at the time, obviously, and it was shot in Wilmington. So I was driving up. So, I knew a little bit in advance when I was going to be filming. So I think it was that third episode that I was in that I was like, all right, I'm going to be doing a couple more, I think. But it could have been this one.
It's okay. We'll forgive you if some of the details aren't there. It's okay. It was a while ago. I mean, when you're staying in Wilmington because you're filming these episodes and whatnot, are you like situated, like, are the cast all in the same sort of accommodation or hotels or anything, or do they rent you like an apartment or something? Like, how does that work?
It depends on the show. For this show, most of the people that were on the show were there for long enough times that I think they were renting their own apartments. So like in the morning, if you got picked up from transportation and you were picking up, I don't know, like Danielle Harris, you would go to her where she was renting and pick her up. But there were other cast members that weren't, I think at that point, Stephen Coletti was still a reoccurring character. He wasn't a series regular. So I know he was staying at the hotel with me. Not with me, in the same hotel.
Yeah.
I don't want to start some rumors here. And who else might have been staying there? I feel like there were a couple times that Antoine might have been staying there, but I don't know if that's right or not. He might have just been getting picked up there. But yeah, so I think like a little bit of a half and half.
Great. And then when you're in the later in season 4 and you've got the storyline where you basically become friends with Lucas and you're helping him with his book, and there's that episode where you're paired off and sort of walking around the school, and sort of you make him sort of gothic and things. Was that a fun one to shoot? Because I mean, that's one, I guess, where it's literally just like one-on-one time without having like extras in the background. How was that?
That was my favorite one to shoot. Like I said, it was just really cool to see all of them together and doing their thing, creating the magic, and then hanging out, and talking about their lives. And it's an interesting episode, obviously. So that was for sure my favorite one to shoot. Yeah, and I don't know, there were parts of me that definitely related to Glenda too. So it was cool to see them sharing that storyline. I think a lot of people relate to that. Not everybody in high school is beautiful and, cheerleaders and doing all these amazing things. Some people are definitely lucky enough, and that's dope. And I think that, one of the reasons that we watch these shows like One Tree Hills, it's fun to like live that life with these people for a little while. Mm-hmm. But for those of us who maybe didn't have that experience, it's also nice to see those characters and be like, yeah, we exist. We're represented.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Not alone. There are other people who have dealt with that, gone through that, feel that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'd probably say it's probably more a majority that aren't, in the popular, elite kind of thing. So I'm sure, more people could relate than not, which, yeah, I fully agree. I'm just going to reiterate what you said, so I'll stop talking. But did you get to keep any like props or wardrobe or any like mementos from One Tree Hill, like from filming or anything?
Did I get to keep anything from that? I don't think so. I have a lot of like One Tree Hill stuff from the conventions because it's always so cute. Just all these great shirts and sweatshirts and things like that. I don't remember. Isn't that terrible? I don't think I did because I have like a place where I store all of that stuff. Yeah, and I don't think I have anything from that show in particular.
Well, okay, I do. Well, you mentioned it, so I'll ask. The conventions are like something where the fandom has just continued to almost get stronger over the years. It's something that we're definitely aware of from, interacting with our listeners and followers. Uh, how many of those have you been involved in, and do you feel like, does it feel like a surreal thing that, well, it shows how impactful your character was, the fact that you were, in, a handful of episodes, and you were there at the conventions, like how does that all feel?
It's very strange. It's really cool. It's very strange. I've only done, as far as I can remember, I've only done 3 of them. I did one way back in the day, when we were still filming, and James Lafferty would put on that basketball. I don't know if you know about the charity basketball games, but so I did that one, and nobody knew who I was because I don't even think any of my episodes had come out yet. Maybe the school shooting one. I'm not sure. I think that one had come out yet, maybe. So that was very odd and new to me. And then the last couple years, it's strange because it's like, well, I was only on the show for, what was it, 5 episodes, I think, which isn't a really long time. So it's really interesting to have people come up and know who my character is and like my character and want to take a picture with me and want to talk to me about my character. Super cool. Very cool to meet everybody.
Yeah, well, it's because you did great work, so enjoy that. You deserve it. Well, just to talk about some of the other projects you've done. You're on 90210. That must have been fun. I mean, that's like they share the same genre. You could say, I haven't actually seen it, but did you have a good experience there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 90210 was a lot of fun. That's filmed in LA, so really different experience. I don't even know how to put it into words. Just the whole vibe is very different. Filming in Wilmington, filming in LA. And the shows are, I mean, even though they're in this, like you said, they're in the same genre, the shows are so different too. Just in the way they go about things, I feel like. So everything was very different, but still super fun. Nice. Very fun experience.
That's awesome. And Vampire Diaries, that's one of my wife's favorite shows. She was so hooked on that. I mean, again, I know that it's a bit more fantastical, but it's still within that sort of teen-ish drama genre. What was that like?
It was really fun. That was I was in episode 5, I think. So the set was not the set. The cast was still getting to know each other. It was a very new show. So it's very interesting to see how different it is going on to shows where they've been working together for a while and then going on to a show that's just in its starting. And it was cool. We filmed outside and it was a little chilly from what I remember. And all of my scenes were outside. So it was just outside. But yeah, that was a fun one. I wasn't on that set for as long. I think I only filmed for 3 days for that one.
And still super cool.
But I got to do it in Atlanta, which is where I'm from. That's where I grew up. So anytime I can film in Atlanta, I love it.
Right, because there's a lot of filming actually does happen in Atlanta, right? It's kind of a bit of a LA outside of LA sort of thing, which I didn't know about until a few years ago. So that's cool. Is that part of where? Sorry, is that you grew up there, or did you move there because of that?
I grew up here. I just moved back, by the way, but I grew up here. My dad is in the entertainment business. He is an audio engineer for live sporting events. Oh, so cool. ESPN type stuff. So there's always been Turner Broadcasting here. Cartoon Network has been here forever. So we've had downtown, we had our little strip of where things happen. And I did start acting really early. So I did do things here. But it wasn't what it is now, for sure. That actually started right after I left and moved to LA, 10, 11 years ago. All of a sudden it just started all this work. And I was like, man, I just moved. But now, yeah, they call it a Yollywood.
Okay, nice. Mean Girls 2. I mean, I've seen the first one, but was that fun?
Yeah, another one in Atlanta. It was fun. I was on that set for a while, even though my character, I didn't like have a ton of lines or anything, but I was like part of, it's like the two cliques. It's like a popular clique and like the outcast clique. Of course I'm part of the outcast clique because duh, all the coolest people are. So we filmed for a long time, so I made some really good friendships on that set. I'm always trying to remember, like, is there any juicy gossip? Is there anything interesting I could tell you? No, I've been really privileged to work on pretty easy sets. Like, I haven't had to work with too many divas. I don't have too many like Christian Bale moments, I can tell you. Like, God, you won't believe what so and so did.
That's okay. We're not really the gossip type anyway. Like we like to keep it all positive. So you know, we obviously honor the horrible parts as well. And unfortunately, you know, we don't need to talk about it, but we have covered, you know, a lot of the horribleness that happened in One Tree Hill, like behind the scenes, and obviously a lot of that is being covered and reclaimed by Hilary, Sophia, and Joy. I say that like I know them, I don't, but you know, on their podcast on Drama Queens, which is fantastic. So yeah, we do touch upon those things, but we try to keep it, you know, we try to keep the show alive in positive ways, you know.
Yeah.
And then I have to ask about Eastbound and Down as well, because that's I haven't seen this show, but I love I've forgotten his name.
Danny McBride.
Yes, I'm about to say, oh, I love him, and I blanked on his name, but yeah, I love him, and you know, all like Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill and all of their sort of collaborations, and this is at a time where that was really in its element as well. They were kind of like the new frat pack, so to speak. What was that experience like?
It was so fun. We filmed a little bit I think we filmed mostly in Myrtle Beach for that one, but Danny McBride, I just want to say, is precious. He's such a nice, genuine guy. So lovely, so hands-on. He was in my initial audition. Like, I've never seen that before. I walked into the room, like usually it's a casting director, it's a director, producer, you know, if you get up to like a callback or a producer session or something. And I walk in, Danny McBride's sitting there, and I'm like, casting his own show. I don't even know where he found the time. But just such a cool guy. So working with him was a dream. He's wonderful. The show itself was so different than anything I've ever worked on because it's mostly improvised, right? So you have a script, kind of, but it's more of like an outline of like, so this is going to happen in this scene, right? Maybe these lines, if you get to them, right? And then Danny McBride and Jason Sudeikis was in my episodes because he plays my boyfriend in the beginning part of it. And so he's in it. And so they're riffing off of each other. He's riffing, you know, the rest of us are trying to keep up. Usually we're just there to be reactions, right? Like, it's so hard not to laugh. I feel like that's really your job when you go onto these shows is don't laugh. Just let them be funny and do not laugh. But really, really fun show. And like I said, I just never knew what was coming next. And there'd be so many times where because they had improvised something that they wanted to keep, they'd have to change something later in the script. So who knew what was going to happen in the next scene? I sure didn't. A lot of fun, for sure.
Well, that's great. And I guess those experiences and doing things in, you know, non-typical ways is a great experience for you as a performer to just take into your arsenal for future projects. So yeah, that's great.
Oh, for
well, I have a couple of listener questions that I will throw out to you if that's okay, and then I'll let you go. And this has been fantastic. Really appreciate it. The first one simply says, "I love Glenda. She was great. How was it to play opposite Chad? I mean, I guess you've kind of touched on that, but excellent in a word, right? You enjoyed it.
It's great. I mean, he was obviously, I was in that age where he was teenage heartthrob when I was growing up,
Right.
like, so believe me, it's surreal to be sitting there. Chad like
And he's never really lost that. Like he's kind of like remained as in that sort of, it's hard to say, handsome for a very long time, and
right.
he seems to be succeeding at it. So
absolutely, yeah, good on him.
Good on him. Need to find out what water he's been drinking.
Right.
What another listener asked, what did you think of Glenda's backstory?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. And it's always fun kind of fleshing out little details for yourself too, in your head of like, oh, this is what I think happened. This is what I think happened. And having the mom, the issues with the mom, I think is very relatable for a lot of people, especially young teenage girls. That's a rough time for mom-daughter relationships, especially if your mom is not very nice, which kind of sounds like Glenda's mom had some fat phobia issues and, some of her own insecurities she was projecting onto poor Glenda. But yeah, I really enjoyed her backstory for sure. Not like we were talking about before, not everybody has a cookie cutter happy life sometimes. So
for sure, yeah. And even those people that might appear that way potentially don't either. It's a lot of keeping up appearances, and it's like the whole thing of social media where people are showing you their best life, and it's not, it's all filters and all the rest of it, and it's so completely. So Glenda is a very important character and very poignant, and I think obviously that's why she resonates with so many people. This one I thought was really interesting. Someone asked, where do you think Glenda would be now in 2022?
I always kind of imagined Glenda like going on, kind of like you said, that she almost like published Lucas's book. So I almost pictured her like going on and working for some publishing company or starting her own publishing company, probably in like horror books, right?
Yeah.
But then somebody had posed online that maybe because people found out that I did music. And a lot of people are like, oh, I wish Mark knew about that at the, when you were in the show, maybe they could have incorporated your music. And they were like, yeah. And then Peyton could have signed her. So apparently there's some story out there, fan fiction, where Glenda is signed by Peyton's record company and she's touring. So I would be fine with that future as well. That would be cool.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. I mean, so tell us about the music. Is that something that you also did, growing up, something you continue to do now?
Yeah, it's always been something that acting has always been my main focus, and like that was going to be my career. That's my career, and music was something that I loved doing, and I still really pursued it heavily. But I never like saw myself like, oh, I'm going to be touring in concert or anything. I was in a rock band for a while, and we would like do local shows and stuff. But I always assumed like, oh, acting, music second. And then recently, I've just been feeling so creative and inspired, and wanting to just be a better songwriter and connect more with people through music. It's something that acting, especially film and television acting, which is my passion, it's harder to connect face to face with people like an audience, because there's a screen there. I'm on set and I'm not connecting with people there, but that live, music and lyrics and telling your own story has been really appealing to me. So that's been something that I've been focusing on a lot the past year. And I'm putting out a new album, or I'm going into the studio this month to start on that. So yeah, it's definitely something that is getting more and more like, I have to do this. I have to share this music with the world.
That's awesome.
I'm rambling and I completely forgot your initial question. I hope I answered it. Sometimes I just
No, you
talking.
did. No, yeah, you answered it. I've got a couple more, but just to keep on this subject for a second. So where can people support you with the music? Like, where can people, buy the music and all that, those sorts of things?
Yeah, so I'm on all of the like streaming sites, whatever streaming site you may use, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, what have you. And I'm just not under my name, Amber Brooke. I'm under a music name, which is AB Dubs, just literally ABDUBBS. It was something that my band used to call me, or a couple members of my band used to call me, and I loved it and I thought it was fun. And so I was like, that's to be my music name. So AB Dubs. And you can find my music on, like I said, basically wherever you find music. And yeah, if you want to go give me a little follow, that always helps. Go follow my music page.
For sure. And your Instagram as well, because that's where I found you.
Yes.
So can you just remind us of the handle?
Yeah, it's at Amber Brooke Wallace, at Amber BROOKE WALLACE.
Excellent. So everybody get on that, get involved in there. Okay, and then the last one was someone's wrote the whole little bit here. I was going to ask, were you ever asked to come back in season 5 and show you like helping Lucas to edit his book? Or maybe you could have been at one of the book signings, seeing as you were the first person to be trusted to read the book and give an honest opinion on it. This is from the person. I was really annoyed that they didn't bring her back, even for a flashback episode, to show her first in line at a signing. That would have been nice to show you there. I mean, was that anything that was ever mentioned, or did you ever have a feeling about that?
No, I think what may have happened was I was supposed to come back for the graduation episode, but I was filming a movie at that time that I was already contractually obligated to. So I couldn't film when they were filming. And I think after that, maybe, not that I was like in trouble, they're like, we're just not going to bring it. I don't think it was like that, but I think it just maybe it wasn't thought about again, Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't asked after that, but yeah, it would have been nice.
Well, we've had this like fan idea that if there could be a One Tree Hill sort of reboot or continuation, that it could be that like Nathan and Lucas and the characters that were younger would basically then be like the parents, and be like the next generation of One Tree Hill. But we were saying that there'd be twists and things in it, and we making it more diverse, and trying to fix some of the errors that were in there from it being like an early 2000s show, and bring it up to date and so on and so forth. If that was to ever happen, would you be down to reprise Glenda?
In a heartbeat. Absolutely. I would love that. I think I could see Glenda being in a pretty like cool place. Like, you don't go through crazy stuff like that in high school and not be a little bit learn. What am I trying to say? I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Learn it. Yeah, a bit more. She's
chill
wise.
Girl.
Yeah, she's been through some stuff, so she's seen it. She's not bothered by the small things in life. She could be like a cool like music teacher at the high school, but she's like a bit offbeat, like in a great way.
I would love that. That would be amazing. Oh, that'd be really fun.
Okay, well, when Dom and I get this figured out, get the funding behind it, and get the rights somehow from Warner Brothers or whoever, and you'll be first on the list. Well, what about like other projects and things that you're working on that people can check out or look forward to seeing?
Yeah, right now, I've just the past couple years with like pandemic stuff and moving cross country, I haven't really been like creating as much as I normally would be, but in the future here, I'm going to have a couple of cool stuff coming out that I'll be updating my Instagram on. And then, obviously I'm always auditioning, so you never know. Maybe I'll book something soon and I can update everybody with that as well, let you know where you can see me. But yeah, definitely if you follow me on my Instagram, I'll keep you up with everything that'll be coming out eventually when it all comes out.
Excellent. Well, we will for sure be there to support, you and whatever that you do next. And I really appreciate your time and insights into everything. It's been an awesome conversation. So thank you so much, and good luck, and wish you nothing but continued success with everything going forward.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. Like I said, it's such an honor to be asked. So good luck with the rest of the podcast, and I hope your friend enjoys the show.
He's loving it. He definitely hasn't been expecting some of the things that has happened. It's been a great ride so far. So well, thank you so much.